Hello everyone, welcome back to Dad's Gaming, ZHP 2004 here. I'm going to bring you my race from Wednesday night. This is a support series for the Saturday races that I've been doing now for a couple weeks. And this week we are at Bathurst for 20 laps in the IFCA TCM Relay Series. So the cool thing about Wednesday night is you don't drive your Saturday car or your team car per se. Every Wednesday you have to grab a different car from the series. So every Wednesday you're in a different car yourself. So this week I chose the 69 Mustang and figure I'd give it a whirl. It's been a very strong car in the Saturday races, so it's not a car that I've driven, so I figure I'd pull it out, maybe try to give myself a little bit of an advantage. And this is not a team race, this is a solo race, so there's no team points other than participation points for your team. You get a half a point for each member of the team that joins in the race. So we're going to get right here into it. We're going to not do the whole race, obviously. 20 laps would, be a real long time. But we're going to cut here to the beginning of the race, and we're going to try a little new editing. Not sure how I like it, but guys, enjoy. So without further hesitation, Bathurst, 20 laps. So in the top left portion of the screen we have Chevy Power. Bottom right we have Don. Starting on pole is Skitchin in the Falcon. I run wide there next to Chevy, and I felt that he pushed me out wide, so he pulled over to let me go. And that's one of the things in these series is there's a lot of respect. If you push somebody off, you give them the spot back, or you could, wind up with a penalty. And too many penalties and you would be kicked from the series. So, which is really nice to see. I know a lot of different series, that private groups, you get racing with, your regular drivers. And it's usually not a problem, unlike, public lobbies. And there we go, we just had a bit of a mishap there, but again, Chevy pulled over, let some people go. We got Nova there, top right hand portion of the screen is going to show us a very tricky part of that track, up over that hump. You got that sand trap, a couple people get by. Good rejoin, and going to be going down the hill. And we got Chevy just coming up to the hump. Going to be running past the sand trap, but we got Don, Nova, and quite a few others already on their way down through there. We have One Shot, top right hand portion of the screen, making his way onto the backstretch in the 70 Camaro. A lot of Camaros in this race. I think it was Chevy and Skitchin had the Falcon. There's a couple of the 65 Mustangs in here, which were quick. And a couple challengers. There's a Midnight Rider and a pretty cool paint job on his Challenger. Really kind of digging the purple. And we'll probably see Latte Speed here later in another Challenger. But we've got a little great side-by-side action here with Chevy coming down through the chase. This is just the end of lap 1. But Chevy goes in for an early pit. Again, there are mandatory pits. You have 2 pit stops you got to make, and then a third mandatory stop at the end of lap 10. So everybody kind of on a little different strategy here. Got a bit of a battle there going down the front stretch in the turn 1. But everybody gets through, and we're going to keep moving along here. We'll probably jump around. Just check out some of the guys. There's Latte Speed and his 70 Challenger. Hot Rod Power Tour. Myself in my 69 Mustang. with a Yenko sticker on it. You guys can make fun of that all you want. There's 65 Mustang. They were definitely quick around here. I believe that might be Carrot. And there was another one in here being driven by Dino, and he was really quick throughout these races. But there I am, you know, one spot back, coming down through the S's. Let's see if we can't, you know, close this up here. Really fun portion of the track when you get it right, and it was really hard to get it right most of the night. You really just try and settle in, find a rhythm. I knew I could probably be faster, but I'd probably be bouncing off the walls. But we got, you know, number one, 1970 Chevy right there. Just going down the back straight through the kink, coming up to the chase. Another really crucial braking point. Again, here we have Latte making his way down. And a big critical thing with this race was, you know, with 3 stops, nailing this pit entry became quite difficult. As you can see, I think that might have been Skitchin or somebody just kind of wound up in the sand trap there. You want to get in there fast, but if you're late on the brakes, you wind up in that sand there and behind the tire barrier. As you know, again, we have another example of it. You just kind of got away with one there. He didn't wind up behind that tire barrier too bad, so that the pit stops really kind of caught some people out. Really made for some interesting strategy as to when you pit. And here we have Sox and 7. These guys were nose to tail for quite a while. Again, 70 Camaro and the 69 Firebird, or Trans Am. And it was good to watch these guys, you know, in the replay later on, just kind of, you know, running. They really weren't getting away from each other. Alright, we're just going to bounce around here, see who else is out here running. And we got a 65 Mustang. You know, got some damage. Pretty much everybody's got a bent fender at this point. Busted headlight, and here I come. I'm closing up, coming into the chase. Get right up on that bumper, but there was not going to be a spot for me to make a move there. So I just kind of settle in. Still running there. I believe that's Carrot, and he goes in for his pit. I figure I'm going to push another lap. He gets a really good in on his pit stop, and Latte stays out with me. So we're going to run one more lap here, I think, before we jumped into the pits. I just figured, you know, I had clean track, why not, you know, take full advantage of it. Then there's Skitchin in the Falcon. That Falcon was fast. Kind of looks like he enjoys hanging the back end out on it. But, you know, if that's the way to drive it, to make it fast, well, so be it. Then we're going to cut back to myself here to see how far back we are and how close Latte is to me. So, you know, there's a little bit of a gap up there to first. And this was, you know, going to be... This might even have been after the first cycle of stops. This might have been right before the second series of stops. But at this point, you know, we're running around in second place, I believe, and it was working out pretty good. I was just trying to figure out how could I close the gap, or could I close the gap up the first. And I just knew getting into the pit lane was going to be so important. Again, here we go. We got Sox and 7. Nose to tail again. You know, a couple car lengths between them, but you know, putting in the laps, and you know, the cars look to be in pretty good shape actually, which is really surprising. Again, here's one of the Mustangs. There's Dino and his Mustang, and he was probably one of the fastest cars on the track. And here we are back to Chevy. And One Shot. And Nova. Myself in the lower left-hand portion of the screen, and then Sox and 7. Looks like they caught up with somebody that just come out of the pits in front of them. But this is going to bring us to the final pit stop. So this would be the end of lap 10. As you can see, yeah, we skipped, you know, quite a bit ahead, and at some point I must have leapfrogged Skitchin in the pits. I don't know if he had a bad pit stop or something, but we're going to go in here for our final pit of the race, and we get in there real well. Actually, there's Skitchin, you know, right behind us, and he's coming in. Like I said, it was a mandatory stop at the end of lap 10, and something kind of interesting happened. I'm watching the indicator as I'm in pit lane, and a car goes by. I'm like, well, somebody unfortunately missed their pit window. So, you know, he does decide to stop, but I'm coming right out of the pits, and wow, almost. I probably should have stayed a little more inside coming out of there, but at the time, I didn't even realize how close that was. But he did stop. He actually went back, and, you know, took his pit stop like he should. Like I said, really good group of racers in here. But we're going to jump through the rest of this. I had a decent gap back to Don, who was running in second place, which was nice to see my my teammate. Although, you know, not for this race, but, you know, we're still, you know, learning the track for Saturday, because we're working as a team on Saturday, if not in these cars. But I just trying to maintain a decent gap there. Sorry, guys. And it kind of worked out. There were some times where I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing real good. I look down, and all of a sudden, you know, I'd lose half a second, 3/4 of a second. And I just kind of, with about 3 to go, just had to bear down, stop paying attention to the, you know, time indicator. Because I knew the more I was looking at that, the more I'd worry, the more screwing up I'd be doing. At this point, you can tell my tires are getting pretty worn out. Here we are, you know, final lap. And, you know, the car's just feeling sloppy at this point. I kind of drove it pretty hard, but this is a pretty hard track to drive and, you know, save tires on. So as long as I don't, you know, muck it up too bad, put it in a wall, or coming up here to my sand trap, I was just kind of tiptoeing it through there. I really did not want to go off in there. And again, you know, watching these tires and all the tires around the track, and just going to try to keep the car together in one piece, get onto the backstretch one last time. You can see, you know, everybody's still back there. It's still you know, close. If I drive it off going into the chase here, you know, it could drop kick me from first place down to, you know, fourth, fifth, because everybody back there is just that close. But we get on the brakes nice and early. We get turned in. And guys, that's pretty much going to secure it for us. This was my second Wednesday night race with the group. And my first win in this series. It was really a lot of fun. It was very nerve-wracking. But now on to Saturday's race. Guys, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.